I wanted to start off by asking you just about TIFF, about bringing the report here to this festival, and also, your experiences more broadly with TIFF throughout the years.
Well, it's a great festival, and everybody kind of agrees. Not only are the audiences particularly warm and accepting, but it's just very well run. We were talking about it this morning. So all the people that are responsible for taking us around and organizing everything are really good. So it's always a joy to come. And that's really, in terms of what I see, is just this. The other night we had a premiere of a movie that I did that's not coming out till next year. It's an English movie called Hope Gap, and the audience was just so responsive, and we talked to them afterwards, and it means a lot, because it's just great fans who love movies and are very generous, let's say, not overly critical.
You've described yourself as a political junkie, or a news junkie, political animal. I'm wondering, did that lead you to this story and wanting to be part of the report, or did it maybe give you pause?
Oh, I was thrilled to be asked. I just feel lucky that he asked me to do it. I didn't know Scott at that point, Scott Burns, who's the writer-director. So I'm just lucky that he asked me to do it. I read it and thought it was just so well crafted, and got at something that's complicated to talk about, which is this CIA secret torture program that was instituted after 9/11. What I would hope, especially for people, well, anybody, but especially for people who live in countries where torture is just part of their daily life. That's true of a lot of places. And maybe there's something to what happens where, in the end, the Americans stood up and said, we admit this happened. And that was led by Senator Feinstein and Senator McCain, McCain being a Republican, Feinstein being a Democrat. And they both got up together and said, this is reprehensible. And so many people are suffering in countries where torture is routine, secret, never reported on at all. And in this case, democracy and the press together helped to uncover what was happening and repudiate it.
Have you seen the story today in the New York Times?
Evidently, the CIA destroyed tapes of interrogations of al-Qaeda detainees.
I want to find out what was on the tapes, and why they were destroyed.
No paper.
Paper is a way of getting people in trouble at our place.
At our place, paper's how we keep track of laws. Last night I found this. He's detainee number 24. Have you guys used this thing before?
No, we watched your video.
They waterboarded him 183 times. Everything they got from him was either a lie or something they already had.
If it works, why do you need to do it 183 times?
Maybe when the report comes out, people will finally see that.
Well, it's interesting. In studying Senator Feinstein, I did not speak with her. I didn't want to put her in that position. There's just so much to watch. I used that. And I did talk to Dan Jones a lot, who knew her very well and worked for her for so long. So I wanted to be accepted that I was her, and then I wanted to just let the story really tell itself, and the facts and the events speak for themselves. Interestingly, too, she's a person who, the way she presents herself, in my view, is real and authentic. And there isn't a big difference between when you speak to her privately and what you see publicly. Sometimes that's quite different with public people. I'm sure you see that all the time. So in that way, there isn't a big gulf between who she is if you happen to be lucky enough to sit and talk with her, and who you see when she's sitting on the Senate Intelligence Committee, or running it, as she used to, or the Judiciary Committee. She's the real deal. I think she always has been.
How would you describe Scott as a filmmaker, though?
Scott is, he's been a screenwriter for many years, obviously, very successful screenwriter. And often screenwriters, there's a part of it which is very frustrating, obviously, because it's a director's medium. That's what film's all about. He's also written plays, so that's more for the playwright. So I think he feels incredibly liberated. I know he does. I've heard him talk about it. Not only liberated, but just gratified that when he's writing something, he can make all the decisions about where to put the camera in his editing process. He had a lot of support and help, but he is so ready to be doing that, right? He's so ready to be directing. So he seemed, he's a very kind of soft-spoken, humble person, and that's how he approached the work, although he's really incredibly savvy about script issues especially, and we sat down and we actually read quite a bit before we started, and we sat around the table and we talked about things, and we might say, wait, what does this mean? I'm a little confused by this, or how can we make this more clear? And he says that really helps him to, when he hears it read aloud.
We will not allow this to be covered
The
up.
intent is to gain intel, save American lives.
History is written by the victors.
We need to change our approach.
How is that even ethical?
Nothing could be further from the truth.
Democracy is messy.